The Responsive App Designer is a tool for making your app adapt to different screen sizes and screen orientations. The workflow for building a responsive app in Aquro is the same as building any app project. You'll use the same tools to design your pages, build your app logic, and so on. And when you're done with the normal app building process, you'll then be able to fine-tune your designs for responsivity. For this video, I've prepared an app that's a list of people and a form to add new items to this list. To check how the app will look on different screen sizes and different orientations, and then make some fine-tuning to these looks, let's head over to the Responsive Designer. The responsive editor itself has a few different areas we'll work with. The first one you'll notice is the Preview and Edit window, where we see a live preview of our phone or device. This view works in the exact same way as the App Preview window in the Aquro App Studio that you normally work in. And within it, you can navigate throughout your app. The next area to point out is the left side of the screen, where you'll find different screen modes for your app. On the top, you'll find 3 buttons which can specify which screen rotations this page should be available for. In this case, both rotations are activated, and the app will then work on both portrait and landscape mode. Below these buttons, you'll see a list of all layouts that can be used for this app. One for landscape mode on small screens, one for portrait mode on small screens, and so on. When the page is loaded, your app will try and find which layout to display to the user. Let's say that this app is running on an Android phone in landscape mode. The app will then try to find the specified layout for exactly that: a small screen, landscape mode, and on Android OS. If no such layout is specified, it will try and view the layout for small screen, landscape mode. If that mode isn't specified either, it will fall back to the default portrait layout. In other words, you can customize as much or as little of the app as you would like for different screen modes. With that said, let's start customizing the different layouts for our app. The selected mode right now is portrait mode, so click the Edit Design button to start editing this design. On this page, we would like to just get rid of the input components, as we would rather have those on a separate page for our phone layouts. To remove the components from this layout, I can simply click the red button on every component. As you can see, they are now crossed out, and to save these changes, just click the Save Changes button. Once exiting the edit mode, your app is back in preview mode, and you can now see that the form is removed from this layout. One important thing to point out in this stage is that we haven't removed this component from the app. We've just removed it from this layout. So for the other different screen rotations and sizes, the form will still be there. Let's go ahead and head over to the landscape mode to continue working on this page. On this layout, we might want to use the width of the screen more, so let's move the image to the left side of the screen. Once we've selected a component, another section of the Responsive Designer becomes active, the Property Toolbox. In this area, you can modify specific component settings for the selected component. One thing we'll often use for this area when rearranging components is to check and control the anchoring. If you're not familiar with anchoring, I strongly recommend you check out our video about using the page builder in Aquro. Anchoring is a very important concept when designing apps, and is equally important when using the Responsive Designer. In short, anchors are describing how individual components should be positioned and resized relative to the distance of the screen edges. Even if we create different designs for different screen sizes in the Responsive Designer, there are hundreds of different phone models, and every phone model might have a slightly different display size. We need to make sure that our app works with all screen sizes without having to create a unique version for every single one, which would be impossible. So we do this by using anchoring. From here, I could also resize the image and change the position of the list component. Finally, I'll remove the form components from this layout. Let's save the changes to exit preview mode, and we can now see that this is a much better use of the screen size available within this view. I could even modify the properties of our different components. Let's go back into edit mode real quick and select our image. On the right side of the screen, you'll notice the property panel where we can now see all available properties for the selected component. If I wanted, I could now select another image and then once again save the changes. This image would now be displayed only on this screen orientation and layout. Editing layouts for large screen devices works in the same way, and I'll go ahead and modify the layout for portrait mode for large screens now. But this time, I'll go ahead and keep the input forms as there's plenty of room for them on this screen size. So far in this video, I've gone through 3 different layouts for this page. If I wanted, I could continue to work with this page, or I could switch to start working with the responsivity of another page. I accomplish this just by clicking the page name at the top and selecting another page. And that's the entire process of working with the responsive designer. As you can see, it's super simple and fast, and by using it, you can ensure that your app looks great on any screen size, operating system, and orientation.